Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 33 of Cameron's Nostalgia Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Strickland, and today I have with me Stefan Ashton Frank. How are you?
Hey, I'm number 33. That makes me special, I think. I'm doing pretty good. It's really cold. I'm in London right now and it's freezing outside. But I won't get any sympathy from you because it's probably colder in Newfoundland.
Nice. Now, for any of the guys who don't know, Stefan was a voice actor for TV shows and video games.
I still am.
He's
Yeah,
done work for children's shows.
I've done lots. I'm still doing them now. I'm doing a feature movie right now where I'm the bad guy and they want me to sing in it, so I'm going to go record the songs next week. But yeah, I've done Amazing World of Gumball for 12 years. And I did Thomas the Tank Engine and I did Chuggington. And my son and daughter also do voiceovers. And my son's in Paw Patrol. And yeah, so I love doing the cartoons though. The cartoons are really fun. They make it worthwhile. But I do a lot of other things as well. I make film trailers and do a lot of TV promos, and I made at least 100 games. Been doing that for a really long time. I was in the
Okay,
very first Call of Duty
alright,
and the first GTA as well. I did the radio stations. But
nice.
yeah, haven't done any puppety stuff. And a lot of the guys you have on look like they're all into puppets.
Uh, okay. So, let's begin our first question.
Okay.
How did you get interested in voice acting?
Well, I was a singer for a really long time. I made lots of records with people and I sang all over the world with different bands, a lot of people that I sang for and made lots of records. And when I got to London, I went and introduced myself to the guys that made jingles for commercials. And they said, "Hey, you're an American. Can you read this?" And they just got me to read some scripts. And I ended up getting an agent from that. And they just threw me in the deep end. And I was doing movies and all kinds of stuff right after that. So it was making me more money to do voiceover than it was for singing. So I went, okay, maybe I should do voiceover. And now I've been doing it for 30 years.
Nice. So, what was your first voiceover gig?
I did a movie called Zombie 90. It's the worst movie you've ever seen in your life. Really, really bad. And it's about zombies and it's so bad. It was filmed by these Maltese guys in Germany and they recorded the whole thing in German, but they had me go dub it in English and I dubbed the two lead doctors in it. I made one guy sound, it kind of talked like this. What's going on? And the other guy I had to do was he was kind of like this, and he really whined a lot, and it was really silly. And I made up the dialogue because their script was terrible, and that was the first voiceover job I ever had. I did the whole movie, and if you look it up on IMDb, it's got some hilarious reviews. There's some really funny things about it, but it's called Zombie 90. But that was before I had agents or anything. I didn't really know what voiceovers were all about in those days. That was my first try.
Okay. You have done work for Donnie Brasco.
I did. I did Al Pacino's voice in that movie. There's something called ADR that after they shoot a movie, they need to go and re-record certain lines because they're either not loud enough or they're in places where they should have put a line, but they didn't. so I had to imitate Al Pacino's voice in that movie, and I did all his bits because he was shooting another movie when they had to do the ADR on it. And so yeah, I'm all over that movie. Go on down there. Go on. I asked the director, who was a guy named Mike Newell, I said, what do I have to do for this part? And he said, smoke a lot of cigars. So I had to talk like that, really down low. Go on down there. It's okay. Way to go, Donnie. One of those guys. And yeah, that was my that and Event Horizon I did in the same week, and it was the first time I ever did ADR for a movie. And yeah, it's good, good fun.
And what about Event Horizon?
That was scary. It's a really scary movie, and I did lots and lots of parts all through that movie. And there was bits where the director said, "All right, you're gonna fall for 40 seconds, and I want you to scream convincingly that you're falling for 40 seconds." If you think about it, that's almost a minute, and screaming for that long and sounding convincing, it takes a lot out of your voice. I didn't realize it in those days because it was really early in my career, but um yeah, that was tough. But yeah, I realized when I saw the movie that all of my parts were the most important parts of the movie. It explained how what the whole plot was about and everything. And then I'm the last thing you hear on that spaceship. I'm the last spaceman that comes onto a new ship. So I'm all over that movie though. They had me say something in Latin. I can't remember what it is, but it was save yourselves. And they thought it meant save us. And so they went out to go there and they find out in the end that it was like run away. Don't go near this ship. It's haunted. So yeah. So yeah, that was a good movie though. It's funny when I did all the sound for it, you could hear the sets. You know, they didn't mix in the sound effects and they didn't remove certain the sets were made out of plywood, out of wood. So you'd hear people on the spaceship walking across wood and stuff. And they ended up taking that, they take that out in the end, but I heard it before it was taken out. It's very funny.
All right. You have worked on Martian Gothic.
Oh yeah. One of the many video games that I've done. Many, 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 many video games. That sometimes I don't even know the name of them because like I did Cyberpunk 2077 with Keanu Reeves and they wouldn't tell me what the name of the game is. I worked on it for 5 years and they would always call it Cheetah. They had a secret name for it because they didn't want anybody to know what you were working on. So everything is, they call it NDAs, non-disclosure agreement. And you have to sign it and say, you can't talk about what you're doing. You can't say to anybody what's going on. It's have to be a secret. It has to be secret. So I signed these NDAs, and every time I would do the job, it was called Cheetah. And it ended up being called Cyberpunk 2077. So I never know what game I've done sometimes until it comes on IMDb and I go, oh, that's what that is. So the Martian one was one of those. I had no idea. I did. I had no idea. But
Got-
yeah, there's a lot of them.
yes. You got to be Tanner in Driver 2.
Yeah. And I did that with Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch. You ever see that show? It's way before you were born, but it's a um, um, cop show about two kind of cool cops, and Huggy Bear was the pimp in the show. You know, they'd always go, "Hey, what's the word on the street, Huggy?" "Ah, I ain't got to tell you nothing." So he was in this Driver 2 video game with me. And back in those days, there was no American black guys in England, which is where I was doing it, except for Huggy Bear. They flew over. So because I'm an actor, I could imitate any accent. It doesn't matter to me. And in those days, I had to play a black guy against Huggy Bear in Driver 2. So Tanner will kind of like that. Tanner, what you talking about? And I wouldn't do that anymore. I think it's not very politically correct. But that was 20 years ago, so I could do that. I won't do it anymore.
You
Stay
got
in
to
my lane.
um you got to be Menhelm on Blade.
Yeah, another one of those lot of shouting and dying. You when you do a video game like that, you you have to die about 40 different ways or get punched 20 different ways. Oh, oh, oh. Oh. So you do all these different sounds and they want hours of that stuff. That's all I remember about doing Blade. I was having to do an hour of getting killed. Pretty silly.
Another video game was Gothic.
Yeah. You know what? There's a modern one that I've done that is amazing, and it was like Gothic was, and that's called Horizon Zero Dawn. And it's kind of it's very much like Gothic, only the graphics are incredible because you can just see when I'd done Gothic, that was 15 years ago or something. It was a long time ago. But the new version of Horizon series, amazing. It's hard to tell sometimes whether it's real or if it's animated. They're getting that good. I think in another 2 years with AI, you won't know the difference between somebody real or not. You could be AI. You could do your podcast as an AI guy. In fact, are you really real? Maybe you're doing it already. Just kidding.
You have worked on Robot Wars.
That I love doing. I love that show. I did it for Nickelodeon and I did it for another channel in America. And I got to do the play-by-play. Here comes Matilda, the matriarch of mayhem. And oh, she's gonna leave a mark on that bot, that's for sure. And I just sit there and talk. I did hundreds of them. They were hilarious. Just pretending like it was a football game, only it was robots killing each other. I love
Right.
doing that.
You have worked on Prisoner of War.
Yeah, that's a terrible game. Awful. But I did it with two guys I know really well, so they're the other two guys in it. Oh, that was awful. Almost as bad as, let's see, which one was the worst? It's, what's funny? Some of the worst games that I've ever done have massive followings. People really like the really bad games, really just terrible. Like Battalion Wars, it's awful. And I did both of those. What's the other one? Just looking. Advanced War, Simple, Gothic, Play, Driver. Um, I'm trying to remember. It was called Sniper, I think. Oh, it was terrible. I played the two lead characters. It was awful. Oh man. But people think it's great. It's like it's so bad it's good, I guess. That's why people like it, but pretty silly. Same thing with that zombie movie.
And you got to be Stanley in Simple 2000 series.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the one. The really bad one. Yeah. Yeah, I've done literally, I'm still doing them. I'm doing games now. I just did one where you're a record producer and you've got a band in, and so I just done a game like that. And yeah, I'm constantly about once every week or so I do a new game. There's a lot of work doing games. Do you like games? Do you play them?
I do.
What do you play?
Half-Life 2.
Half-Life 2?
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of that one. Is it a shoot 'em up or are you building stuff or how does it work?
It was the first person
Oh,
shooter.
okay. A shooter, yeah. Yeah, I've done a few of those.
And you got to be the bullfighter and the guy in the bar. And this is Dom Jolie.
Yeah, that was a BBC show. They had me, it's so funny, they had me pretend I was a bullfighter from España, from Spain. And I had to talk like this, but I did not know English very well. And they put me on the show and they had me interview like that. And I wore a bullfighter costume. And they shot a video with me singing a Barry White song in a Spanish deli with girls in bikinis. It was the silliest thing ever. I think it was a comedy show. But yeah, I got to be a bullfighter. And I would talk like this, and I didn't understand what you talking about. I would talk like that.
Was you able to sing it?
I yeah, I've got a video somewhere in my garage of it, or sing it. I can't even remember the song now. I can't remember the song. It was a Barry White song though, and they had to hold up cue cards because I couldn't remember the lyrics when I was singing it.
You got to be, oh, you worked on Cana, the prophecy.
Yeah, I don't remember doing that. See, those are one of the ones you just go, "Oh, yeah, is that what I did?" Okay, but I don't remember them. Let's see, what else have I done here? Yeah, Cyberpunk is great. I'm doing a new Amazing World of Gumball season. We've just done 43 episodes. We've got two or three more things to record, and then it's going to be on um, Cartoon Network, and they're launching Hanna-Barbera Europe with it because we did it all over here, and we're all Americans, but we live in England. Pretty funny.
All right. You have worked on IGI too. Covert Strike.
Yep, Covert Strike. That was another. You got to die 500 times in that game. Just goes on and on and on. You know, it's the same like a first person shooter that you're on. How many guys sound you heard guys dying in in your game? Half-Life? Is there guys making sound effects like that?
It was Michael Shapiro.
Okay. He's the character and he's the actor.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you know what? They're getting so much better. When I started doing games 25 years ago, they didn't care about the acting. It made it sound terrible. You know, a lot of times if you're in a conversation with somebody, they'll want to read you the line before so you know how to answer. But in those days, they would just give you all your lines and you didn't know what the conversation was or anything. You would just say the line. And they put it in there and it would sound like you didn't know what you were doing. You couldn't act. So it was a challenge back then. But now they've got proper film directors in there getting you to do voiceovers. like all the cyberpunk stuff I did in Horizon, they were all really top end directors. They knew exactly what they wanted, and they hear the line, they give you the lines before and give you the whole context, and they're making better. Right now, the games industry is 5 times more valuable than film and music and television put together. They sell more money in games than all the rest of the entertainment, all streaming sites, everything, every TV, all that stuff. They don't make as much money as games do now. And in a way, if you do a first person shooter, that's at least 60 hours of programming that you play the game and you go on forever. It goes long. 60 hours is short. Some of them are much longer. And television can't compete with that. Movies can't compete with that. Movies a 2 hour thing. And so the games industry is taking over.
Nice. And you
Do you know
got
what's cool? There's a lot of programs now that you could make games on your own, and you don't need 100 people like you used to need. You used to have people doing backgrounds and doing figures and characters and dialogue placement. There's stuff you can get on the computer now that will do all of that for you. You just ask it. You be really specific about what you ask for, and you can actually create your own game. Might be cool to try. That's the future. Sadly, it's going to remove about 200 people and their jobs out of doing games because the computer has gotten so good at it. But they say that if you're really good at using those programs, they call you an AI whisperer. And I think that's your future. I bet you could make some good games. You're pretty good with a computer, yeah?
yes.
Yeah, it might be a good thing to learn because that is the future. All the old composite guys and all the animators and all that stuff, it's a thing of the past. I mean, there was a time where everything was printed one letter at a time on a piece of paper. And as soon as the typewriter happened, the guys that were putting those letters down didn't have a job anymore. And that's kind of what's going on with games right now.
All
It's
right.
okay. I have a saying, evolve or dissolve.
Nice.
You know what that means? It means you better move with the times or you're going to melt. That's the literal translation. It's though. It's good to learn new stuff.
All right. So, you have worked on Advance Wars 2, Black Hole Rising.
Yeah, that was probably not one of the better games in there. A lot of them just blend into one thing. They were all shoot 'em ups, and they didn't have much of a story, and it was just about kind of getting better shoot 'em ups. By the time I did one called Battlefield Bad Company, that was really good because all the actors they used were really funny, and the Swedish company that did it let us record all together, and we could make crack jokes and make up new lines and stuff, and they kept it. They loved all of it. There was 6 of us, and we were all together. And that was the first shoot 'em up where they spent $100 million on a graphic engine called Frostbite, where you could shoot and destroy everything in a 360-degree angle. You could turn the gun anywhere and it would affect all the backgrounds all around, all the 360 degrees. It was the first time they'd ever done something like that. I think it's moved on quite a bit since then, but um, It was a great game. It was a really, really funny game. Yeah, I liked doing that. That was my favorite game that I ever did.
Nice. You got to work on Plan to Cook.
Planet Cook. I was a taste bud. You have four different types of taste buds in your mouth. You've got one that tastes sugar, one that tastes salt, one that tastes bitter, and one sour. So those are the different taste buds that you have on your tongue. They're all around, but they send signals to your brain going, "Ooh, that's sour. Ooh, that's sweet. Ooh, that's bitter. Ooh, that's salty." So they made characters for this guy. He was teaching people how to cook, teaching kids how to cook, and we were making comments as taste buds. And I was the sour guy. I was the sour taste bud. That was Planet Cook.
All
And
right.
the funny part about it is it was a cooking show for kids, but the chef that was the star of the show, he hated kids. I love it when that happens.
All right. You got to work on Sacred.
Sacred. Yeah, there's another one I don't remember. Yeah, who knows what I did on that? I remember all the people on it. Oh, I'm still in the same agency with one of them. Oh, and she's in it. She's a great singer. Yep. This was he was a really good guy. He died. You know what? That was in they were all really good actors in there. Really good. Yeah. I don't remember anything about that game. There's a lot I don't remember. The funny thing is I don't really play games. I think if I liked anything the most, it would be a racing game, but they make me ill. If I look at it too long, it makes me kind of sick. So I don't play them. I don't play the games too much. But every time a new game comes out, I've got friends that are calling me going, I'm listening to you right now. So that's kind of cool.
And you got to work on Churchill of Hollywood years as the announcer.
Yeah, that was pretty silly movie. Um, And I was talking just like this. It was a news article in the beginning of the movie, and here's how it sounded. It sounded like an old-time newscaster. That was the voice I had to do.
And you got to work on iToy Play Free.
Yeah, that was some PlayStation thing that they were trying. I don't know how well it did. The PlayStation guys are just down the road. Actually, I had a record deal at Sony, and it's in the same building. And now it's only games there. The record company moved out of there. But yeah, iToy was a camera, like a surveillance camera that you'd have off of your PlayStation, and you could play tricks on people with it by recording them when they didn't know they were being recorded. It's a bit questionable, that one.
You have worked on Sacred Underworld.
Yeah, another very forgettable game. 2000. Oh yeah, you're going up. Advanced Dual Strike. Battalion Wars is interesting. Um, there's still got that game was 2005. We're 20 years later, and there's still guys creating new characters for it that are just fans of the game. They're doing fan kind of imitations of it, and they love me. They've really I'm played the general in that thing, and yeah, the game hasn't been out for ages, and there's still these guys that really love playing it, and it's 20 years old.
All right. You got to work on Events Wars Dual Strike.
Yeah. Uh, yep. Don't remember that one either. That was probably a lot of screaming and dying. In fact, all of those simple. Oh, Sniper 2 is the really terrible one. Ah, that's terrible. Simple 2000 series, The Sniper. It's so bad. The acting's bad, and I'm acting in it. It's just awful. But you know what? People love all of that garbage. It's funny. You can get really serious about making the best game in the world, and they won't like it as much as something that's just terrible. Who would have thunk it? Is it cold in Newfoundland right now?
Yes,
How cold?
it's starting to get outside.
Is it like below zero?
Low 0.
Do you do Celsius or do you Fahrenheit?
Their height.
Fahrenheit. So zero's really cold. 32 is freezing. So zero is pretty cold. Yeah, today here it's zero, which is 32 in Fahrenheit. And I've got to say, I never knew time zones split by 30 minutes, but yours does. Incredible. You
All
go
right.
all the way around the world. Every time zone is 1 hour, the next hour, the next hour, the next hour. You're half an hour you're in the between time zones. Amazing.
All right. You got to work on Battle Lion Wars.
Battalion Wars. Yeah, that's a silly one. It's very funny. I might be able to. Can I send you a link? No, I was gonna say I could send you a link, but it's getting late. I've got to maybe wrap up in about 5 minutes if that's possible.
All right. To wrap this up, you're about to sing the alphabet song.
Alphabet song. Well, A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z or Z, they say over here. Is that the song?
Yes.
Can't do it. Sorry.
That's from Baby Shakespeare.
Is it Baby Shakespeare?
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know where I learned that. I think I've known that for a really long time. Or, oh yeah, now I know my ABCs. Does it end like that in Baby Shakespeare?
Next time, won't you sing with me?
Next time, won't you sing with me? Huh. Yeah, I wonder how it sounds in like Hebrew. It's got 21 letters or other alphabets. Like, what about Han Chinese? Han Chinese, 4,000 characters. That's going to be a long song.
All right.
Cool, man. I'm so happy to be number 33 on your famous people list.
All right. Well, Stefan, thank you so much for your time.
It's an absolute pleasure, Cameron, and I wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, have a look at doing some AI game stuff. I think you'd really enjoy it because you're good on the computer and you could create your own games and it's free just to get on there and just to be able to create your own games and get really specific and you say, this is what I want it to do, this is the plot, this is what it needs to look like, and it makes it for you. I'd love to see you try that. It'd be good. You might be really into it. Because it sounds like you like games a lot.
Nice. Stay tuned. There will be more guests coming up. Until next time, peace.
Bye. Peace.